Peace, peace, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to another Moments in Mastery. And this is just a moment. As you see, I'm here by myself. I don't have my beautiful queen, my lovely wife, Queen Mother Sekhmet Sabrina Glin. So I'm here for Moments in Mastery. As you know and see, she's been holding it down. And, you know, she's a true entrepreneur such as myself. We're parents, we run businesses, and we have to maintain our life and we have to live in our life purpose, which is doing what we're doing right now. So this is a moment in mastery. I'm going to be talking about myself, and I'm going to be talking about what I love to talk about, which is entrepreneurship, which is liberating yourself, liberating our minds. You know, the saying, free your mind and the rest will follow. It is so true. If we free our minds, then the rest will follow. You free your mind and your body will follow you, right? And so Masternomics, you know, we focus on self-mastery, mental shifting, entrepreneurship, freedom in every aspect. And so, you know, I was thinking what I was going to talk about today. I've been very busy, just making a lot of things work, making a lot of things shake and shape out the way I wanted to. Because we're all similar. We all live in we live in this world, and we are striving to be the best versions of ourselves and make our dreams a reality. And that takes movement. So, you know, I like people to understand that if you are in financial challenges or going through financial challenges or going through movements in your business, or if you're stuck, it's okay, because sometimes that's necessary and we need those experiences. Those experiences shape us. Those experiences make us who we are today. When I think about a lot of the negativity that I went through and a lot of the challenges that I've had in business and a lot of the challenges that I still have, right? They help me grow. Are they uncomfortable? Yes. So some people are experiencing a lot of uncomfortable situations. A lot of it's due to finances. No matter where you're at on the planet Earth, you know, as things shift, you have to get in a creative state. Some people like to say, well, you have to adapt. Yes, but more than adapt, you have to create, because there's a difference between adapting to something and creating. As we see society change and shift, when we think about what happened, you know, in 2020 to the globe, we seen a shift. The economy started to shift. So if you are an adaptive, yes, you will just adapt to how it shifts, but are you in control, right? To maintain control, we have to understand adaptation, but we have to stay creative. Creative is you creating in whatever environment that's happening. Okay, so creation is more important to just adaptation. What does that mean? Animals adapt. What that means is, you know, 200,000 or millions of years ago, 17,250,000 years ago, you know, dinosaurs were here. Okay. And then there was great turmoil on the planet, like dinosaurs, giant reptiles were on the planet. And, you know, there was asteroids, meteorite showers, and it changed the planet itself. You know, so the planet does not look the way it looked millions of years ago. The planet is not the same. What do I say? So what happened? We seen these animals adapt. They evolved, right? Some of them that were on the land, they ended up going to the sea. Okay. And then they evolve over, you know, millions and millions of years. That's adaptation. Okay. That's something, an outside force controls your environment and you adapt to it. But like I said, the dinosaurs, which became the reptiles today, and these various different animals, they adapted. So they got smaller. They just adapted. Why? Because they do not have the ability to change their environment. That's what animals have to do. Animals just have to adapt. All right. If you have a dog or a cat and it lives in your house, you decide to move from LA to New York or New York to Ghana. What's the dog? Does the dog get any decision? He just adapts to wherever you're gonna go. Well, we moved from a hot climate, now we're in a cold climate. He just gotta adapt. And this is what animals have done throughout history. They adapt to it. You know, people use the term evolution. Well, because they're adapting and then they just evolve into that situation, adapting to that situation. Well, those are animals. Those are beings that are considered not sentient. Sentient means the ability to think, right? You have consciousness, right? You have a mind. And so as an entrepreneur, as a person that has the ability to think, which is you can't just adapt to situations. Because if you just adapt and somebody else is pulling the strings, they're just controlling it, and you say, okay, well, we gotta we was doing an 8-hour shift at work. Now they changing us to 12 hours, and you just adapt. And some of us just live our lives in just an adaptive state as opposed to a creative state. Adaptive is you was 8 hours, now you're doing 12 hours. Okay, now we're doing 4-10. We're working 4 days a week at 10 hours, 10 hours shifts. Oh, well, they changing us to this. Well, you talk to people and I say, well, you run into, I run into people in the grocery store and we're talking. I say, well, what you doing? You still at such and such working? Yeah. Oh, you nice? Nah, they shifted me. They moved me here. They moved me there. Right. And what happens? Well, man, I had to adapt to it because my sleep pattern, I was so used to working nights. I've been working nights for 5 years. Then they shifted me there. So I had to shift. So that's an adaptation. That's someone else is controlling the situation and you just, okay, they move this way, I got to move that way. Well, the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship and the beautiful thing about your life is you have the ability to shift your thinking and create your reality. That is creation. That is creative, right? You are a creator, a co-creator. You have the ability to create your environment. So guess what? I remember when I walked out, I've only worked a few, like 2 times in my life, and it wasn't even over a year period of time out of my whole life, right? But I remember that time when I did, and I remember just walking out and just leaving. Because I said, I don't want to work at night. I'm not doing that, right? I didn't want to adapt to that. So what did I do? I got in a creative state, and I created a way to provide for myself. As a very, young man, created a way. And what we see now is we're in a world of creation. So we live in an era of its creation. We can create with our thoughts and our minds and our thought patterns, right? We are in a creative state. That's what we have to dwell in, a creative state, right? That is the state that will get you what you want. So once you decide what you want, you got to get creative. In order to get creative, you got to get away from just adapting to things and create. Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about you being creative with your life, because a lot of us have lived our lives just adapting to the change. So we hear a lot of people saying this term now. They say, well, we're dealing with a shift. What type of shift? An economic shift, a spiritual shift. Every type of shift is happening on the planet. A political shift. Wherever we're at, we're dealing with a shift. Why? Because the universe is shifting. What do we mean by shift? Movement. Things are not the way they were, and they are rapidly shifting. Shifting is movement. So for you as a person who's the CEO of your household, right? And if you're not the CEO, you're the secretary or whatever you do in your household or in your life, wherever you're at, right? You have to realize that there's a shift. Once you realize there's a shift and that the universe is shifting, that all thought on the planet is shifting. So now, guess what? The people that will be compensated the best are the creators. So now you see what? Content creators. People being financially rewarded and benefited for things that they create. Creators have always made the money. Creators and producers have always been the ones that make money. Okay? All right? The consumers just consume what someone created or somebody produced. And guess what, people? Guess who's the number one consumers? The black people in America are the number one consumers on the planet Earth. Now, do we produce it? We produce a lot of talent. But do we control the economic and financial aspect of that talent? And as a whole, on masses, we consume what other people create. And consumption is just not putting something in your belly. It's what's coming into your mind mentally, right? So now, dealing with the shift, I get a lot of responses, and some people say, man, well, look, all that sounds good, but right now I'm trying to pay the bills. Guess what? Who doesn't pay bills? We all pay bills, right? Now, but do you let the bills control you? Is the question. If you let that circumstance control you, then you're back into an adaptive state. The creative state says, well, I know this bill exists because the lights have to stay on, right? But how I pay that bill is based on this mind here. And if I've been doing something over a period of time, which is a job or a system, whatever it could be, and even for those that still have a job, that does not mean you cannot have another stream of income, and that comes by way of investment. So I always tell people, we're all different people, and we all have to analyze our lives and how we can shift to free ourselves, liberate ourselves. Okay. But if you're in that rut and you're stuck and you keep going through the same thing over and over again, it's because you keep thinking the same way over and over again. It's habitual or it's a habit. So you were stuck in an adaptive state. We constantly just keep adapting to what somebody else created. Well, guess what? The power company said all the bills are going up. We just adapt to it, right? But if you don't change how your money is made, how you're creating your money, what happens? You're going backwards because the price of food goes up, but your money didn't go up because your thinking didn't move. So when we're talking about dealing with this shift and handling the shift that's happening, shift is movement. That means everything is moving. Well, that's just not me saying it. That's universal law. That's the law of motion, the law of vibration, meaning everything in existence is moving. Everything vibrates, so everything moves. We think things are still because of the way we see. But reality, everything is moving. When you see successful companies or you study successful people, you can track them over periods of time, and they've moved. What do I mean by move? They're not the same. A lot of you all, when you got on the entrepreneurial journey or when your life shifted, what happens? People say, man, you changed because you're in movement. What's moving? The first thing that's moving is your thoughts. You're thinking differently. You're reading different things, right? So when you're looking at things differently, so your experiences start to change. So for those that are in these, tight situations or financial situations or wanting to see how you can figure out how you can better yourself, once you decide what you want to do, you got to move towards that. That starts with your thoughts and your thinking. That starts with the information that you're putting in your mind. Okay? Because here again, if you just adapting, you're gonna end up like the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs just adapted. So when they couldn't be on land no more, they went to water. And what happened? What happened to turtles that used to be, huge, 50 feet tall and all that? What happened to them? When they just adapted, they got smaller. You can hold a turtle in your hand today, right? Did you know turtles used to be 10 times our size as humans? It was turtles that big. Why? Because they don't have a mind, so they just adapt. They're just a physical being. When you just adapting, you're going to get smaller and smaller, and somebody else is going to control the situation. So we're not dinosaurs. We're divine beings in flesh. We have God inside of us. We have a mind. We were given the ability to think. And most of us don't use the most beautiful thing we have, and that is our imagination. We can imagine what we want. In imagination, the key word in there is image. So we have to create an image of ourselves, and then we just move towards it. The movement is the energy. It's your thoughts. They are moving. Thoughts move, and thoughts become things. So the more our thoughts move to what we want, the more we create what we want. So if you want financial freedom, you got to get a picture of that financial freedom. You have to see it. Okay? But there has to be movement. And so what happens is a lot of us, we have no movement in our life. Now, some people have movement, but they have no focus. So I always say, well, you're busy, but not productive. I see people and they running around. Man, I got this going on, got that going on, and it seems like ain't nothing working because you just running around. Yeah, you moving, but you just running in circles because you don't have focus. So you have to align all of these things together to get what you want, right? It has to be a conscious, directed movement. In relationships, in a lot of households, you got the husband doing this, the wife doing that, and the kids doing this. There's a lot of movement, but some people say, man, I'm trying to get my business, but my house is chaos, and the wife thinking this way, then, because y'all both moving, but ain't nobody moving in order. Okay. So in your household, there has to be alignment. You have to come together. There has to be order. Large wealth can only be produced with organized thoughts that are directed at something, at what you want to attain consciously, but they have to be organized. Wealth don't just come from chaos, right? Systems are organized. And the most wealthiest people operate off of systems. Whether we like systems or not, systems have order. So we have to create order in order to get the things that we want. So understanding this, if everything moves, then we have to move. What has to move? Sometimes our businesses have to move. Sometimes, there's a battle because we've been doing something over and over again. But you might be in an outdated business, or the way you're doing the business might be outdated. So you have to move. There's more than one way to accomplish a goal. That's the problem that I have with the mainstream, the public school system, is because they teach one way. They don't create entrepreneurs because they say this is the way. Well, now because of the shift, people see there's more than just going to high school and then getting getting your diploma and then going to college, right? Is that the path to success or financial freedom? Definitely not. Why? Because there's so much massive student debt on the planet, so much that the government is trying to decide should they forgive this debt or not, because some of this debt, people are going to die with this debt, right? Because they went to places, they followed someone else's system and indebted themselves at the earliest part of their life when they were just coming into manhood or womanhood, and created a debt. Might have gotten a degree, but they're probably working in an industry not even utilizing that degree. Okay, that's because you're adapted to what somebody else created, as opposed to creating for yourself. So in the age we live in now, the wealth is shifted and is going to be shifted to those that are in a creative state. So what you see now is you see a rush now more than ever because of this economic situation. A lot of people are running to, well, I got to have my own business. I got to have my own business. What will happen with most of those businesses is they will fail. And it's a harsh reality. Why? It will fail because most people are taking the same thinking that they have in working a 9-to-5 into starting a business. And you cannot run a business with the mindset of an employee. You have to shift from an employee mind to a business owner mind. And most have to shift from being an employee to being self-employed mindset, then on to the business. Self-employed because you got to get involved. You got to make decisions. It's about self. It's about you. It's about how you want this business to be. And the reason why most of those businesses fail is because they have not had a mental shift. They think they move because they quit the job and they say, well, I'm going to do this, whatever it is. It could be making t-shirts. It could be digging ditches. It could be anything. But if you operate with the same mind of an employee, you're going to fail because employees and employers think differently. Employers think of, I have to provide the service so that I can provide for multiple people called employees. Employees think of, I'm just adapting to what a system someone else created. Okay. And so there's less thought. There's just following orders. It's adaptation and it's being more maneuvered, right? And so a lot of people go into business with that same mindset. They don't realize you got to think more than ever. You have to read things that you never read before. You have to get uncomfortable. That uncomfortable part is the growth, though. The challenges help you grow because the challenges you had yesterday is not even a challenge today. And that could be even on the job you had, right? When you first started the job, it was a shift, okay? And it was the greatest thing because you needed a job. Then you got hired for the job and you're like, wow, this is hard. You've done it for a month. Now it's just like this. It's second nature. It's like riding a bike. I remember when I used to be little and I was like, wow, riding a bike, it seems so complicated. The first time I'm shaking, I'm falling off. You trying that 4 days in a row, then I start riding that thing. Now, I can go hop on a bike right now. I mean, it's nothing because your mind has, shifted and you're one with that. You grasp that. You don't never forget how to ride a bike. Okay. But now to get to the next level, right, is riding a bike the same as riding a motorcycle with something that got an engine in between your legs, right? Then you're driving a car the same as riding a motorcycle. It's driving an 18-wheeler the same as driving, your SUV. No, there's levels to it, right? There's more that deals with. You got more axles on this vehicle or whatever, okay? It's driving a car like flying a plane. No, there's new laws and rules and regulations and dealing with other things. But we're going up in levels. So that's how our lives are. But the only way we move up is if we move this up, if we move our thinking up. So a lot of people have that same mindset that we had in the old life or the old way of thinking. Okay. That's just like we'll see now, a lot of people, they're getting into business. Some people say, well, I heard they have money. The government is giving money, but they're giving it to business owners. Guess what? The government has always had money and always produced money and always printed money and always provided it for business owners. It's nothing new, right? There's always been a way. But, were you tapped in? Did it interest you? Obviously, it didn't interest a lot of people. Now, it interests a lot of people now because they're like, well, I heard they're giving out this money, giving out that money. Nobody gives anything. Okay? Nobody's just giving away anything. And you shouldn't want anyone to just give you anything. But do you want capital? Do you want money? Right? If you have access to it, you have to know how to get it. More than anything, how do I keep this money coming? Because if I give a man a fish, he's going to eat for one day. But if I teach him how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. So here at Masternomics, that's why when we help people get loans, apply for grants and things, we're showing them the right way to do it so you can maintain your business. Because the worst thing that people can do is they get money and they have no plan, they have no system, they have no discipline, they don't have no organization, because it's just going to fleet away because they're moving with the same mindset as they did 10 years ago or as an employee. They just consume. Money has to move the same way everything moves. There has to be movement. Once you start doing stuff over a period of time, you create a momentum. So I always tell people, okay, we know there's a loan. Now, how if you get the loan, how are you going to pay it back? Some people say, well, I don't want to pay it back. Well, you're going to end up in the same problem you have because you're putting out an energy that just says you want something for free, as opposed to putting out the energy, well, this is a partnership, because it's just like a person. If your child comes to you and says, Mom, Dad, whoever, I need a loan, a small loan, $100. Well, how you gonna pay me back? Well, I'm working, and then I started doing this other job. Okay, it's less risk. I mean, you got the way to pay it back. You gotta pay it back, based on when you get paid. So you loan the money, right? So, so you loan them the money. If they pay it back, what happens? They built trust with you. You trust them. So when the next time they need a loan, what happens? I'll loan you some more. Now, if you're in the lending business, meaning you make money off of loaning, meaning I make a small percentage or interest off of what I loan you, right? I want to loan you money, but I want you to be successful with the money that I'm loaning you. So if my child comes to me and says, Dad, I want to start a lawn service. Can you loan me some money, buy a lawnmower so I can start the business? Well, I want to make sure he's going to be successful. So I'm going to say, well, do you know what comes along with that, right? It could be hot outside. You ready to deal with that? The lawnmower could mess up. You got any contingencies if this lawnmower don't work? Well, those yards are big. You're going to be able to get some people to help. If he has all that in order, it increases me wanting to loan him the money. But if I'm in the lending institution, I'm going to ask those same questions, right? Why? Because I want to make money off of loaning you this money. And more than anything, if you pay me back, I made money. So what do I want to do? I want to keep loaning you money. So the problems that a lot of people that get into business or start in business that they have is they come in with the wrong mindset. Business is about relationships and partnerships and making things move. So a lender wants to loan you money. You make it move. You make it do what it do for you. Pay them their money. They made interest. And guess what? Instead of, $10,000, now we come with $20,000, help you grow your business. Grow. Movement going up. Things have to grow. All right. Now, grants. If I'm going to apply for a grant, is that just writing your name on a piece of paper? Oh, I got an EIN number. I want to apply for a grant. Put it. No, what do you need? You need a plan. If I'm going to grant you something, think about this. I'm going to grant you something. I'm going to grant this to you. You have to be worthy. What makes you worthy? Having your stuff in order. As one of my teachers said, having your ducks in a row. I don't know why they choose the ducks. They could have used any animal. But having your stuff in order, right? To be granted something, you got to have your stuff. You need a business plan. You need to been existing for a while. Do you have experience? If you get this money, how do we know this money is going to work for you, right? Because this money was set aside to help people that want to grow their business, but they meet the criteria. Because there's a whole bunch of other people that just writing on this paper just to get some money, and they're going to go blow it in the club. They're going to go throw it over here. They're going to go throw it over there, right? and they'll be back in the same situation. And therefore, the people that donate, right, to be able to have the grant, they ain't gonna want to do it no more, because they'll say, well, where's your proof that y'all are granting, the proper people the money? So the only way you can prove yourself worthy, you got to have your stuff in order. Getting your stuff in order is the main movement. So coming into business, getting your stuff in order. Your stuff is your personal, your personal credit. It's your bank account. It's your system, right? It's saying, okay, yeah, my business is not making money right now, but if I had this money, I could buy this, I could purchase that, I could hire this guy, I could do that, and guess what? It's gonna make money, and I see it, and my projections will come out like that. Now, it's work to do that, and we have to invest in ourselves to get that done. But the reward is so beneficial if you do it. All of that is movement. You got to move. You got to do something if you want to get something, because nothing from nothing is going to leave nothing. But if you want something, you got to put something in. You got to put in some time. You got to put in some study. You got to invest. You got to make it happen. It's going to be nights where, it ain't like the job where, you worked 8 hours and you got off. Nah, and to get where you want to be, to get to freedom, to get to where you can handle any shift, anything on the planet, and you can stay in a creative state, you might have to work 12, 16 hours on your business, on your craft. So you got to move. You always have to move, right? Talk to the right people. Talk to people that are experts at what they do, and if that's what you want to do. So if you want to be in real estate, talk to people that are in real estate as investors if you want to be an investor. Okay? If you want to sell real estate, go talk to the brokers and the ones that are licensed to sell it. Whatever you're into, you have to get a mentor and get steady and study that craft. That's all part of the movement. Once you make the decision, you start taking these steps. Those steps produce momentum, and you start moving, and you produce this momentum and this energy, and it starts going. And you got to stay there, and you got to focus on it and create that right circle. So there's a difference between adapting to something, to situations that other people created. So you can adapt to this, what people want to say, whether it's a financial crisis or whatever. Or you can get creative, right? Sometimes getting creative requires you to do a whole shift and to walk away from something, because if it's not serving you anymore. Sometimes that's a business, and that's hard. Because sometimes, I've seen people, and myself have been through it, when you love a business or whatever. A lot of times we just love the thought of making money in this business. But if it hasn't served you and you really honestly have done every aspect of it, you might need to move to another business. You might need to reanalyze the world now in this type of business. And that's all movement too, right? So you always got to be movement. That's in your relationship. It's keeping the movement. We always got to be moving. Okay. The same way your company should meet every week at least. If you got a company, I don't care if your business is just two people, you and somebody else, y'all got to meet every week. In your family, because the root words of economics is oikonomia, which is Greek. It means household management. Your family should meet minimum once a week. Your family. At least your internal family. If you got a wife, husband, blah, 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 and some kids. Just meeting, just talking, right? For some people, I tell them, they're like, man, that's corny. Yeah, because you've seen people on TV doing it. But those shows they made back in the day was creating a reality that the successful people really live like that, right? Business is discussed at the dinner table. Successful people, they eating and breaking bread with their family, and they talking business. So may we be guided by the law of love to govern our family finances. If you love your family, you should be talking about finances, right? If you love them, let the love guide you to govern them financially better. Be a better father, mother, provider, whatever it is, your role in your family, be better at it. And we got to deal with finances. And it gets uncomfortable. But guess what? Those things help us grow. So, moments in mastery, a moment of mastery, right? Master yourself. Push to the next level. Be the best version of yourself. You have the ability. If you don't, you end up like the dinosaur. Dinosaurs used to be big, bad, right? Meteorite shower comes. Bam, hits the earth. Dust clouds come up. Millions of years later, what happened? They just had to adapt. And look how big they are. Now look at a turtle. You can hold it in his hand. Eventually, they might be obsolete, right? Well, something that was so powerful. Tyrannosaurus Rex, this big dinosaur, where he at now? He gone. He didn't have a mind. You was created with a mind. You got God inside of you, right? You have a mind where you can think. You got an imagination. Imagine the business and the life that you want and do the work. Faith is work. So if you say you're faithful, but you ain't doing no work, that's dead. That don't exist. That's just talk. Be faithful to what you want to accomplish, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like doing it. But you know it got to be done because you know consistency creates success. Be consistent with it. Be consistent with your words. Be consistent with what you're doing. Support Masternomics. Support us with what we're doing. Support us in building the Phoenix Land Project that was created from the creators of Masternomics, which is myself and my wife. And the Phoenix Land Project is we're developing 70 acres of land in the Black Belt in Alabama, building a community, a living community. And in that community, we have sustainable sources of income, which is food growth. And we have the farming on the land. When we're also building a school, K through 12, and a entrepreneurial school that teaches entrepreneurship and teaches what we teach every day. Teaches financial literacy, teaches how to structure your business, how to maintain the business, and how to thrive in the business. So the things that we're teaching is Masternomics. Our goal is to have an actual physical school that people can come and you can get certified in whatever you want to do, right? You can be the master of your business. And so in us developing this land, we have investment opportunities that people, everyday people, I don't care where you're, you don't have to be a millionaire or whatever, but you can make an investment and get a return on your investment, right? And more importantly, you can invest and donate to a mission and a movement that is dedicated to doing what I love to do, and that's helping others. My name is Chief SuŋNaa in the Tolan traditional area of northern Ghana. I was given that name and it means help others. So I will always help others. So help us, donate to Masternomics. Drop something in the Cash App if you got Cash App. You can hit us by email, masternomics1@gmail.com. And we're here. We're here to serve. So follow us, subscribe, share this, and I hope this moment help do something and help shift you. Thank you.